Total madness has continued overnight because he is now accusing Buckingham Palace of sabotage, of wanting to kill him because they made clear he has been offered totally Buckingham Palace.
Prince Harry has been reportedly reduced to tears as a result of being denied armed royal protection in the UK on his visit next week.
It's really disturbing, this soap opera we're being subjected to with these two.
There is a moment in every family crisis where one person goes too far. Where the line gets crossed so clearly, so deliberately, that even the people who wanted to stay neutral cannot look away anymore. For Prince Harry, that moment may have just arrived. This week, what started as a planned family reunion, a father finally meeting his grandchildren after 4 years apart, collapsed overnight.
He finds that out. He breaks his father's heart by saying, "See your grandchildren after all." What a despicably cruel thing to do to the king.
And the reason it collapsed tells you everything you need to know about where Harry and Meghan are right now, what they want, and exactly how far they are willing to go to get it. Let us walk through this, step by step. Because every single thread in this story leads back to the same place. On Friday, it was all set. Harry's team sent out a confirmed itinerary, dates, flights, the works. King Charles, who is currently battling cancer, was told he would finally sit in a room with his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, for the first time in 4 years. Think about what that means for a grandfather. A sick man.
Own security report, which he had previously submitted to the government to try and get you, to try and get me, British taxpayers, to spend millions and millions of pounds a year to ensure that
a father who has spent years on the outside of his younger son's life, watching from a distance. The promise of seeing those two children, that is not a small thing. That is everything. By Saturday, it was gone. Harry tore the whole plan up. No grandchildren. No reunion. Nothing. What happened between Friday and Saturday? Harry did not get the one thing he had come home for, armed police protection, paid for by the British taxpayer. Royal correspondent and broadcaster Robert Jobson, who has covered the royal family for decades, put it plainly, soon as he finds that out, he breaks his father's heart by saying he won't bring the grandchildren after all. What a despicably cruel thing to do to the king. That is not a tabloid headline. That is a senior royal correspondent, who has spent his career trying to be fair to all sides, using the word despicable. Now here is where it gets stranger, and significantly more calculated. Harry's team did not just ask for protection and leave it at that. They commissioned a 40-page risk assessment.
Gruesome twosome, that couple are capable of really behaving in a deplorable manner. They do it time and time again. We all know what we're talking about.
40 pages. And that document, which was supposedly a private submission to the British government, found its way, with what insiders described as impressive convenience, to a friendly reporter at a major UK publication. According to the document, if Harry sets foot in Britain, he could be the target of 6 separate terror plots. The report claims his presence could trigger what it actually describes as a mass casualty event. Think about what Harry just did. To pressure the British government into giving him armed guards, he publicly announced, in a leaked document, that he is a walking target. That his security is vulnerable. That his children are exposed. Kinsey Schofield, royal commentator and host of the Today for Daily podcast, was direct. He is literally saying, "I'm a target. Come and attack me. Come and attack my children." This is the most insane own goal I have ever seen in royal history. And she is right. If you genuinely believed your family was in mortal danger, if you truly thought stepping onto British soil could get your children killed, the very last thing you would do is broadcast that fact to every news outlet in the world. You would not leak it. You would not announce it. You would quietly stay home. But Harry did not stay home. He filed paperwork, hired a private security firm to write a dramatic risk assessment, and then made sure the press got hold of it. Enough, Harry has now reportedly compared his situation, out loud, on record, to that of Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie is the novelist who has lived under a genuine death sentence for over 3 decades. A man who survived a real stabbing attack on a real stage, losing the use of one eye and partial function of one arm. A man who spent years in hiding, moving between safe houses, unable to live a normal life. A man with a religious fatwa issued against him by the Ayatollah, with an actual bounty on his head. Harry is a man who lives behind a gate in Montecito, California, who pays a private security firm a reported $3 million a year. who has made high-profile public appearances across the United States, Colombia, Nigeria, and Chicago, often with Meghan, without incident. The gap between those two situations is, as one commentator put it, roughly the width of the Atlantic. Royal expert and author Hilary Fordwich noted, Harry served in Afghanistan with a minimal service record over a decade ago. Al-Qaeda has bigger fish to fry. And the fact is, Harry lied just a week ago about his plans. So why should anyone take this seriously now? Here is the part that should stop you cold. For 5 years, Harry and Meghan have built their entire public brand on one word, privacy. They left the royal family, they said, to protect their children. They sued British newspapers, and won, over privacy violations. They gave interviews about the importance of letting children grow up away from public scrutiny. Harry has said, more times than can be counted, that protecting Archie and Lilibet is the reason for every difficult decision he has made. So explain this. The moment Harry needed to pressure King Charles over security arrangements, those same fiercely protected children were suddenly available. Put on a plane. Dangled in front of a dying grandfather as the prize for compliance. Royal biographer Tom Bower, who has written extensively about both Harry and Meghan, put it this way, Harry really thought that if he could set up a meeting between his kids and the king, the security he has been demanding for years would suddenly fall into place. The children were thrown in at the last minute, as leverage. When the security answer came back as no, the children were removed from the trip just as quickly. In a single afternoon. The same children whose privacy is supposedly sacred. The privacy crusade folds the instant the children become useful. That is not a parenting principle. That is a negotiating tactic. And it gets worse. There are reports, covered by royal correspondents at The Sun, that the plan included taking Archie and Lilibet to Princess Diana's resting place at Althorpe, a location they have never visited, with cameras potentially rolling for another content production. Journalist and royal commentator Nikki Swift noted, we should never have heard about a visit like that before it happened. We are hearing about it because they wanted us to. These are small children who will not understand what is happening. It is too soon.
And if photographs emerge, it will be absolutely despicable. Here is the detail that quietly dismantles the entire security argument. While Harry insists Britain is too dangerous to visit without a full-armed police motorcade, Meghan has been traveling the world without any such drama. Colombia, Nigeria, Chicago. She flew to all of them, attended public events, worked the room, and came home safely. Number 40-page risk assessments. No leaked documents. No press releases about mass casualty events. Kinsey Schofield observed, Meghan knows there is no genuine threat here, but she does not want to be embarrassed, so it is much better to play into Harry's paranoia. We have seen this pattern throughout their relationship. So the UK, the country where Harry's father and brother live, where he was born, where he served in the military, is somehow uniquely and unbearably dangerous. But Nigeria is fine. Colombia is fine. Chicago is fine. That contradiction does not survive 5 seconds of examination. The danger, it seems, only becomes unbearable in the one place where the welcome might be cold and the crowds might not show up. As one veteran royal commentator put it bluntly, his biggest fear is not being shot. It is being ignored. Let us talk about what King Charles put on the table because it has been largely overlooked in the noise. The king, in the middle of his own cancer treatment, offered Harry a suite of rooms at Buckingham Palace itself. Not a hotel, not a rental property. The most secure royal residence in the United Kingdom, with all the protection that comes with it. Harry's reported response? He would rather stay at Soho House. Former Royal Protection Officer Ken Worf, a man who actually guarded Princess Diana, called the whole thing a nothing burger. He told reporters, Harry wants the cavalcade of cars. The photo opportunity. That is why he is coming. The palace, for their part, is said to be equal parts exhausted and baffled. A source close to the royal household told one outlet, it is a total joke. They are playing into the hands of everyone who says they court drama to sell Meghan's products. The palace would have been perfectly happy with a quiet, low-key visit. And once again, they turned it into a soap opera. And then came the moment that made even Harry's supporters wince. Right as Princess Kate released a genuinely moving film, documenting her completion of a 23-mile trek across Britain's National Three Peaks to raise money for the hospital that treated her cancer, Meghan dropped a cheerful advertisement for her new lavender honey. Buy my stuff. The timing was so tone-deaf that commentators struggled to find the words. Two women, both dealing with serious health challenges, both in the public eye. One completing a grueling mountain climb to give back to the hospital that saved her life. The other posting a product promotion. As one royal broadcaster put it simply, read the room. Strip away the 40 pages and the leaked reports and the tears, and you are left with one very old story. A man who wants the rewards of a family he publicly trashed and the protection of an institution he publicly bled for cash. The Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the memoir, the Spotify deal, the therapy sessions sold to streaming platforms, the family rift packaged into content, the grief monetized. Every private thing they claimed to own, sold, one piece at a time, to the highest bidder. Royal biographer Angela Levin, who spent considerable time with Harry during his working royal years, said this week, "I think people's patience has absolutely run out. The hypocrisy is off the scale. When you talk about privacy and the lack of press intrusion, and then you sell your soul to everyone from Oprah to Netflix, you lose any credibility." And yet the palace doors, remarkably, are still open. King Charles is still reaching out. A sick father, still trying to find a way back to his son. Tina Brown, the acclaimed journalist and author of the Palace Papers, has described Harry as delusional for thinking any of this ends well for him. And the king, according to those close to him, is said to no longer recognize the person his son has become. One American royal commentator put it this way, "I do not mean this cruelly. But the king does not miss Prince Harry because the king does not recognize this person. The man capable of writing that book, of making those accusations, of using those children as chips on a negotiating table. That is not the son he raised. 4 years of lawsuits, leaks, interviews, and accusations. And now, grandchildren used as bargaining chips. Somewhere underneath all of it is a boy who lost his mother at 12 years old and never quite found his footing again. That is real. That matters. And it deserves compassion. But compassion is not a blank check. And it is certainly not an armed one. The question before us this week is a simple one. Was this a genuine security fear? A father trying to protect his family in a country he believes has turned against him? Or was it the most calculated act of emotional blackmail this family has seen yet? A man using a grandfather's love for his grandchildren as leverage and a dying king's heartbreak as a marketing tool? The evidence is in front of you. The receipts, as they say, are public. Drop your verdict in the comments. I want to know what you think. And if you are tired of watching two people treat a king's heartbreak like a content calendar, hit like, hit subscribe, and stay with us. Because this story is far from over. This is Royal